Good morrow, good people. It's your girl, Rhaenyra the Cruel here, back for another episode of the We Got Y'all podcast. I am joined by my magnanimous, I said that last week, but amazing. I won't give him too many adjectives because he's just that good. Kyron, aka K Rich, what's going
Woo, aka hand to the queen.
on? My Lord,
Good
hey.
morrow. Yeah, good morrow, your grace. How you feeling? How you feeling? How you feeling, Queen Ray?
Man, I'm so fucking sleepy, like delirious. So this might be
Yeah.
goofy, but also serious. So I don't
It's
know.
it's funny because I too am sleepy
Mm,
and tired.
uh-huh.
And someone it's been like that for the past couple of days. I really need to get back on my sleep schedule.
Yeah.
But I told you, I don't know if I told anybody else because why would I? But I was telling you, when I say everybody else, I mean the audience. Shout out to y'all. But I was telling you about Sunday just being a heavy recording day because we recorded 2 episodes and we got y'all.
Yes.
Um, and then I also recorded Good Earners right after that. And
Mm.
I recorded Good Earners. When I was recording it, somebody texted me and said, "You must have been slap happy because you extra goofy this episode." And I was on Good Earners fooling. Like it was a
Oh,
good time.
sweet. Oh, Lord.
Um, but yeah, I think we gonna have some fun with this one. I am excited. Listen, I know a lot of people talk about the pace of
Hmm.
House of the Dragon, even going back to last season and the kind of being a slow build.
Hmm.
I personally enjoy good storytelling.
Yeah,
I'm not one of those people where it's got to be a dragon battle or somebody got Jakars or anything like that every episode.
for
Give
sure.
me a good story. Give me some good acting. Give me some good production,
Yeah,
some good cinematography, and I'm all in. And this episode was exactly what it should have been
for sure.
following last week's. I thoroughly enjoyed this episode, Rachel, like thoroughly.
Yes.
And I'm excited to get into it. But before we do, once again, welcome to everyone out there.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of We Got Y'all discussing House of the Dragon. For those who are new, this is a television podcast, but it is not a scene by scene breakdown.
Hmm.
It's more so a general conversation between two friends slash family members talking about things that they love.
Sure.
We are on YouTube, so if you are listening, you can check us out on YouTube.
Hmm.
Information's in the link tree. Please remember to comment, like, share, subscribe, all of that. That helps us out a long way. Makes the conversation larger. Speaking of which, we did have a YouTube comment from Mia.
Oh,
Yeah, shout out to Mia.
not to me.
Um, yeah, Mia's recorded with us on the Culture Garden as well, but she did leave a comment saying, I too was late to the party with Game of Thrones, but
Mhm.
I did watch it before House of Dragons. This
Mm.
is amazing television. It's a breath of fresh air. So happy y'all are covering.
Thanks, Mia.
Thank you, Mia. We always appreciate any kind of feedback. And if you do leave a comment, whether it's YouTube, whether it's on Instagram at the We Got Y'all pod page, whether it's a email, we will read those comments on air and make you a part of the conversation. And like I said last week, we know that there are Game of Thrones podcasts that go deep into the world, deep into the books. This is not for that. We are discussing this from a viewer's standpoint. Even if we might throw a couple little nuggets that we found out about the books, we haven't read them personally. So I just want to make sure we're clear about that. We don't know what happens. We're enjoying this in real time, like a lot of other people. If you do understand the books, then cool. We appreciate that as well.
Hmm.
And there will be spoilers and explicit content. We're discussing season 2, episode 2, Rhaenyra the Cruel,
Mm.
directed by Claire Kilner, written by Sarah Hess. Obviously, the show is based on the book Fire and Blood by George R.R. Martin, and it is currently streaming on Max. Synopsis of the episode: as Otto schemes to turn the public against her, Rhaenyra questions Daemon's loyalty. Meanwhile, Sir Kristen Cole concocts a misguided plan for revenge. Let me ask you,
Yeah.
before we even get into the episode, just curious, where's Sir Kristen Cole on your shit list slash hate list of Game of Thrones slash House of the Dragon characters?
Oh, he's at the top. He's
I,
definitely in a top five situation of characters
he's
that I hate.
he's number debating if he's 3 or 4. I don't think anybody's ever going to overtake Joffrey or Ramsay. I
Hmm.
think those are always going to be 1, 2.
For sure.
Joffrey clearly being as bad as Ramsay was, I guess awful of a human being and terrible person he was. he's still not even close to Joffrey in my
Right.
eyes. Like
Right.
I remember being upset that Joffrey's death wasn't like a more painful,
That's
slower death.
painful. Yeah.
Yeah, I needed that. I needed that. Like I
Mhm.
hated Joffrey. But he's right there. It's either him or Littlefinger. I don't know where, but
Okay.
it's somewhere there. Sir Christopher Cole is the definition of a bitch ass nigga.
For sure. For sure. I feel bad. I don't have the actual actor's real name. But he had
Who
to turn
plays Sir
off.
Christian Cole?
Yeah. He had
Fabian Frankel.
Fabian, that's what it was. He had to turn off his Instagram comments because y'all forget that this is TV and a show and
Yes.
not real life, and people tend to get extra in the comments. So shout out to Fabian, because if people hate you that much, aside from being unhinged, it means you're doing a great job in your
Seriously.
role.
Seriously. And there are certain actors who, in roles that have been, uh, portrayed, that they do such a good job where you like, oh man, I don't even like them in real life. There's always a joke about, um, even in black movies, certain
Mhm.
people that you're like, nah, I still don't rock with you. Remember
Yeah.
Lawrence Fishburne talked about taking a while after, what's love got to do with it
Mhm.
for, black women.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a long laundry list. Rachel and myself, not to stunt or pat ourselves on the back, I think we're in the upper echelon when it comes to fandom. Like we
Mhm.
really love this stuff. We really study it. However, we're not to the point where we're mistaking real life people for their roles.
Exactly.
So I always remember enjoy the art, but these are human beings. They portray people on television. I remember um, in Power, towards the end of Power, like Michael Rainey, who plays Tariq,
Yeah.
it was kind of the same thing where people were really running up on him like he was Tariq St. Patrick. Like, my nigga,
Yeah.
this is a show.
Yeah.
This is acting. So yeah, everybody just keep it cool. But that is a tip of the hat to
Mhm.
Fabian or Fabian,
Yeah.
Franklin, however you pronounce it, to the job that he's doing. But yeah, Sir Christian Cole, the fictional,
The
obviously the
fiction.
character, he can catch hands. He can catch hands for
Sure.
real.
For sure.
Um, but Rachel,
Yeah.
action packed show.
Yes.
Not I won't even maybe action pack's not the right thing, but a lot of things going on. There was action towards the end.
Yes.
There's a lot of things going on, a lot of moving pieces. As I said earlier, it was just the perfect episode when you follow an event like the beheading of a prince
Mhm.
and what that aftermath looks like. I personally am a fan of when shows when you have a big event in one episode. I love it when the next episode like picks up right where it left off.
For sure.
You know
For
what I mean?
sure.
Like we're still in the thick of it, right when it
Yeah.
happens. So with that being said, and all the events that took place, where do you want to start?
No, we can start right there at the panic at the castle after
Yeah,
the beheading of young Prince Jaehaerys.
yeah. So we're at the Red Keep. Let's go
We're,
and get into it.
yeah, we're in the Red Keep and everyone is in disarray and scrambling because now we know, and everybody know, well, we knew, but now everybody knows that young Prince Jaehaerys has been beheaded. We know that blood, well, we don't yet know that blood is in chambers. However, we got a glimpse of Aegon maybe being interested in his children last week, but this week let us know that despite everything that we think of Aegon II, he does love his children.
Mm-hmm.
And the beheading of Jaehaerys has just gutted him. And he's angry, you know. Um, there's a small council meeting and everyone's there, and he wants to get to the bottom of it. Immediately, we know that quote unquote Rhaenyra is behind this, or at least Team Black. I like that it wasn't Lord Lannister who said, we need to figure out who could potentially be behind this. The obvious answer is obviously the other Targaryen house. But,
Mm-hmm.
you know, enemies come quickly and we need to be sure. I appreciated them trying to take haste, but I also understood Aegon's emotionalism. Like, fuck that. We know who did it. We ride right now. Fuck Dawn.
I'm glad you said that, Rachel, because I want to ask you a question.
Yeah,
As you famously say, the devil doesn't need any more advocates.
for
But let me
sure.
ask you this: Was that an expression of him loving his children, or is that an expression of him being upset that his aura of him being king was compromised? Because that's not supposed to happen. Was it more so I look weak as a king, or they came and killed my son? Or fair to say both things can be true.
I think two things can be true. I think that I don't want to be weak may be powered by the conversation that Aegon the Second had with Lord Lyris last week. But also, nigga, this is my child, my first, well, maybe not his firstborn. We seen those bastards uh in the whole house, but but my
Right.
first claimed child, you know. So I think that two things can be true. And I think that at this current moment, because of the emotionalism and because of how fresh it is, it's less about his kingship and more about the child. Because the reality is, and he's right when he said it could be any one of you in this room, the reality is that he, as king, is not keeping watch over his house. That's what Sir Christian and the rest of them niggas is supposed to be doing, not him. So there's nothing that I specifically could have done. I don't sleep in the room with them kids. I don't be in there. Should I have
Straight
been
up.
drunk? You know?
Yeah.
No. Howsoever, there are so many other things in place that or that should be in place, should have been in place, that would have prevented this whole scenario from happening in the first place.
When you're right, you're right. That's 100%
Yeah.
true. It was an interesting episode for me from
Hmm.
the perspective of, Team Black all day. You see the attire.
Period.
However, we did spend a lot of time with the Greens
Hmm.
this episode. And while I don't fuck with Aegon at all, I don't
Yeah,
want that to be mistaken. I understood a lot of his actions,
for sure.
given what happened. Like I said, your son was beheaded, not just kidnapped or killed in general, like just in a gruesome way.
Yeah,
And
and
a child who has no way to defend. Go ahead, my bad.
I was gonna say not with one fell swoop of a sword.
You
Like they
heard the
sawed
knock.
this baby's head off.
Yeah, they
Okay, go
saw
ahead.
it.
Yeah.
No, that was pretty much it. So obviously, he does show us why he shouldn't be king.
Hmm.
There was a great moment that reminded me of Tywin Lannister from the
Hmm.
original Game of Thrones season or series when he was at the beginning yelling around, "I'm the king, I'm the king." Remember, Tywin will say, "Anyone who has to announce that they're the king is no true king,"
There's no true
and
king.
that's a true definition of that with the way he was acting. We know that as well. Um, he's talking about I declare war, and my nigga, I don't know if you late to the party or not, but your son being beheaded was declaring war. Like you're not declaring shit. This shit's here. It's on your doorstep. We here. We with the shits. We see Aemon walking around the keep in his calm demeanor,
Hmm.
peeping the scene, finding evidence. He found a coin on the ground, just kind of showing that the contrast between the two brothers. I
Hmm.
said it last week. Every time I see Aemon, I have to remind myself he's a younger brother
Yeah.
because he carries it so much more mature, even though we ain't rocking with him either. Um, you talked about him going off on the council, rightfully so.
Yeah.
Christian Cole, where were you? A bed, nigga.
A bit.
Whose bed, nigga? Whose bed, nigga? You need to ask the right question,
For
right?
sure.
Because
For sure.
why weren't you in front? Why weren't you protecting the family that you're supposed to be protecting?
But they don't
They
even
got
know to be protecting that. They don't know the right questions to ask. Well,
yeah,
Aegon doesn't. I think if Otto would have been the one doing the interrogations, that may have gone a little bit differently.
yeah, yeah, and it's sometimes I forget that the way he speaks about Rhaenyra, like that's your half sister. Like I
Yeah.
always forget that. Like you guys are siblings because the hate is so deep. Before I continue, I'm going to get back to the council
Mm-hmm.
and this what Sir Otto came up with. That conniving
Evil
motherfucker,
genius.
evil genius. Like I can't knock the hustle. I
Mm-hmm.
can't knock the hustle. I get it. You understand how somebody born in the position he was born made it to where he is,
Yeah.
right? But before that, we have a scene between Sir Otto and Allison.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell this episode has a lot. It portrays a lot of family issues.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one of the things that was very easy to notice was there's a lot of mommy issues, daddy issues
For sure.
over in the house green. Like it's just very obvious.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell that Allison didn't grow up with that type of love. I mean, your dad pretty much pimped you out
Yeah.
to
Not pretty much he did.
he did. He pimped you out to become queen and really take over the realm. And
Pause.
he, yeah,
Not just did that, but I am of the belief, and I've really been sitting with this for the last 2 weeks, that even her friendship with Rhaenyra was chess move. We thought this was going to be the end. Like, yes, he's the hand, but their children aren't necessarily friends. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that she was with Rhaenyra and she has hated Rhaenyra since they were teenagers, Rhaenyra's freedom, like a jealousy. One,
mm-hmm,
because Viserys essentially did dote on Rhaenyra. That fatherly love that Otto just did not display. Everything with Otto is a play versus Viserys who just let Rhaenyra be, you know?
mm-hmm,
Okay.
yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And to your point, Rachel, do you know how often that happens, even in today's society?
Oh, for
You
sure.
know, you know, Get Out touched on it when there's a scene where I forget her name, the main girl, Becca. I can't remember her name,
Hmm.
but there's a scene where she is looking up NBA prospects. Like,
Hmm.
there's so many times where you got a high school athlete and you got parents encouraging you should
Yeah.
go, young women, you should go out with them, you should go after them, you should do
Hmm.
whatever, get in close with those who are going places. That's a
Hmm.
thing. Being next to the power, being next to
Absolutely.
uh, the one, that's a real thing. And unfortunately, there are parents and people and
Mhm.
advisors that will pimp out whoever
For
in order
sure.
for them to get a little bit of clout. So
For sure.
um, it's not like that's foreign. But for Otto, for the first thing for him to tell Allison was, "We mustn't be shaken by this, nigga." What,
Baby. My
nigga?
fucking
What? My
grandchild, my first grandchild was
just got his
beheaded
handcuff
in our home 75 steps away while I was riding dick.
straight up.
I can never recover from that.
Never. And you see her shook. It's almost they do this weird back and forth where every blue moon it feels like Allison has a little bit of soul left in her.
Mhm.
I don't pity her. I don't feel bad for her, and I should because of what happened, but I really don't.
No.
Um, yeah, not at all. But she's going through the guys that punished us. I don't say you can mourn, but there's going to be some good to come from this,
Yeah.
which is a sick way of thinking after an event like that. I mean, like I said at the beginning, this isn't 72 hours later, 96 hours later. This is right as the shit's going on. Like, you don't even have the emotional capacity to really understand what's going on yet.
Mhm.
Right? He's already plotting the next move, which takes us back to the council, where
Mhm.
he's pretty much saying, like, listen, before you make a hasty decision, before you out here, they found. Remember, Lars came in and told them we found uh, his blood, right?
But mhm.
Yeah, we found blood. He's carrying Jahar's head. We
Yeah.
got him in chambers, all of that. And Otto steps in and is like, yo, before you make any kind of hasty decision, I quote this all the time, Styles P, DMX song, niggas and started something.
Mhm.
Sitting at the table planning, plug the fan in, let the sweat dry off, and then grab the cannon.
Okay,
Pretty much the lyric is saying in bars, right? The lyric is pretty much saying, regardless of what happens,
Rhaenyra did it.
you can not even that. Be outside,
Mhm.
you be outside, you get jumped, you ready to, go on the block and take care of whatever. Nigga, sit down, plan
Yeah.
out your next move, and make sure there is no doubt about what you are about to do and what
Mhm.
your next course of action is. Aegon is ready to set the block on fire.
Yeah.
And I also want to say, yo, we got an advantage right now.
Mhm.
Remember, we're in the middle. We are usurpers.
Yes.
Like, we burnt down
Mhm.
some shit in order to get in this throne. Like, we ran We
Mm-hmm.
ran the rightful heir out of King's Landing.
Yeah.
Like, so there's still that common folk who knows. I don't know. I've been known to serve Rhaenyra. I was at the event when Viserys named her heir to the throne.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So
I
let's
declare
use this.
for Rhaenyra.
Exactly. So let's use this to our advantage, right? Let's
Yeah.
go ahead. Let's go ahead and have this funeral. Let the people see
Mm-hmm.
what type of cruel monster that she is. And it doesn't matter what the truth is, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the truth is at this point. Nigga, if it's a lie, we fight on that lie. Shout out to the Wire.
Yeah.
Like, don't matter what happened at this point. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this is what it is, and this is how we're gonna spend it. Obviously, still goes on today. You can spin whatever story however you want to.
Yeah.
But him to say, not only should we do this, but we need Helena and Allison to ride behind, because the people need to see y'all grieving. They need to see y'all crying. He's willing once again to pimp out his kids for that sympathy, and they're going to denounce Rhaenyra, and we won't have any of these issues. And Allison was all for it until he said, like, and we need you on there. I'm not about to be a part of this circus. Like, yes, you are. You in it. You a part of it now.
That's the thing. And here is something else in that scene that stood out to me. This is the one time that we see Aegon II look to Alicent for motherly advice. If we recall last week, she said, I don't have a voice. You're going to take it from me. They don't listen. The one time your child needed you to be on some motherly look, this is a bridge too far. The only thing you were against was you having to sit up there. And we know Helena is special in whatever whatever way
She's
you want to
touched.
believe that she's special, and you want to send her up there by herself. Are you crazy? This is a bad idea. Evil genius, yes, but like ethically, morally, intrinsically, this is horrible. And the fact that Allison, even then, despite not wanting to sit up there with Helena, she still agrees, and she talks Aegon into it. The one time she needed to put her foot down as a mother and show up for her son and listen to what her child wanted, she didn't. And this is the difference. I think we say it all the time right now. You was raised on survival versus love. Rhaenyra and them boys, they are raised in love. These other crazy ass Targaryens, these Greens, are raised on survival, because that is what Otto has always had to do, and thus put into Alicent, and thus put into those children who are trying to survive and fight for their lives, for their unfounded claim to the throne.
Well said. Well said. It's nuts. It is really nuts. And Allison, she doesn't know how to be a good mom, because she's never seen that. She never got good parenting, mom or dad. So
and I'm
it
not sure
makes
when
sense.
her mom died, but
Right. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. It makes you understand why everyone else is the way they are. When you look at Otto and you look at Allison, and then you see the kids, and it's like, all right, you guys were doomed from the start, really. And there's really no other course of action. We talked about Helena, and she's obviously sick. Rightfully so. Of course, who won it? That is the one member of Team Green where she's indifferent. Like, I don't hate her. I don't care. It's just one of those, like, she's just kind of caught in the crossfire, born in the wrong family, however you want to word it. Allison's, once again, I don't want to beat the dead horse, but awful mother.
For sure.
Comes in to not even console her, but just kind of tell her about the funeral, and attempts to discuss said getting dick down,
ma'am,
and what you saw. And she ain't trying to hear none of that. Here, take this.
I have nothing for that. This is for my boy.
Yeah.
Stop playing with me. I actually do have sympathy for Helena. Not just is she like indifferent to the bullshit. She does not want to be involved in any of it. She stays to herself. She don't be on no bullshit. Based off the later conversation, when Rhaenyra finds out what happens, she says, I wouldn't do this to anybody, especially not Helena, because you mentioned they are half siblings, even though we talk about halves on the Shy.
The Shy, yeah.
They are half siblings. Rhaenyra's mother had about maybe 5 to 7 miscarriages and stillbirths after Rhaenyra. So I could only imagine, and we don't know. I haven't read them books. I don't know if while they were little, she enjoyed those little people in the castle. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Especially Helena, a little sister who is a little different, and we'll talk about it because I think Rhaenyra is also a seer. She's just not awkward like
Yeah,
Helena.
yeah,
The two of them seeing the dust or the debris in the air
yeah, yeah. I know
was
what you're talking
very telling. That was a call for me that the shit is gonna be destroyed by fire. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that both of them saw that, I think, and maybe listeners, if y'all have read the books or have more background information, I think that they probably did share a special connection as sisters. The only two women in that house other than fucking Allison, you know?
about. Yeah, I can definitely see that. I can definitely see that happening. And that's a great call. Whatever the follicles,
Yeah.
dust, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, that is something that they went out of their way to highlight that. And shows like House of the Dragon are very intentional.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
That definitely had some kind of meaning, whether we know it or not.
Yeah.
If we go back to the Red Keep, and I want to say a couple of things before we move on to Dragonstone and some other places, or maybe we'll talk about a couple subplots
Yeah.
before we get back to the main thing. But Loris is with Blood. Um, you
Pause.
was talking all types. Go ahead.
When Laris says that, we have found the nigga who has the princess head in the bag. When Otto says of your expertise.
Mm-hmm.
First off, did you know or remember that Laris is Lord Strong's brother?
I do remember. Now that you say that, yes, I do remember.
That had completely blown me. This is your brother. You set the shit on fire where your brother and father were killed.
Mm-hmm.
You wanted him to burn down the fucking trenches in the castle?
I
This is your
think
expertise.
I
Getting
think
rid
he
of
was.
the bodies.
I think it was a callback to last week and knowing that he has an expertise in torture.
Got it. Okay.
You know what I mean? Because he brought out the torture kit.
For
So
sure.
I think that's what he was talking about. And for Blood to be popping off all that big shit, that nigga started singing like Whitney. Like
Before
most niggas,
it even happened.
I ain't even picked one up yet. I just showed it to you and you
Bruh.
started telling.
Bruh.
Damon hired this half now, half later.
Mm-hmm.
I was with this other rat catcher, or I was with a rat catcher. Like he
Oh,
started singing.
crazy.
Singing though, that tough
Crazy.
guy act is going. Like that nigga, like in Aegon, obviously. First of all, I don't know why Blood thought he was just gonna walk away from that. Like,
Like,
are you gonna hurt me?
playing? Because the reality is, I think that maybe if the children were sleeping alone, you could get out of there. You know what I'm saying? You held the queen, Helena, at knife point. You let her
And
escape.
I was like, and you let her leave.
What did you think was going to happen?
How you think that was gonna play out, my nigga?
And he didn't, I'm sure that they weren't together. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, he and Cheese weren't together because Cheese obviously made it out of the castle because again, he knew the castle. You didn't.
I'll tell you something I've learned throughout my life.
Okay.
Right? It's never about getting in. It's
Yeah.
always about getting out.
For sure.
Getting in is the easy part.
Mm-hmm.
What's your exit plan? How are you going to leave out of here?
Yeah.
How are you going to let this happen smoothly? You were in the royal quarters.
Mm-hmm.
Like you better have a plan. And
Yeah.
the first step of your plan being to let the queen leave to tell whoever,
Crazy.
you're already off to a bad start.
Crazy.
We see Blood wasn't the most qualified, which also goes to Damon not doing any kind of real research about who this is that I'm hiring, which
Right.
obviously he doesn't care. Like I just want to, and it's comical to think about it. He probably knew it at the time. Like neither one of these are capable of killing Aemon.
He did know.
And neither one of them. And he did have that plausible deniability because he never, when they asked him if we can't find Aemon's, he just looked at him and kind of gave them that look, like nigga, handle business. I
Yeah.
ain't saying it so I can have plausible deniability. If anybody asks me, I can literally sit here and say I never told them that, but you know what that means. Like somebody's head better be getting brought back.
Yeah, I feel like he told specifically said it.
I think he said it off screen. I
Yeah,
think he said it off
for
screen. We
sure.
didn't see it
For
in the show,
sure.
but I think he made it very clear because
For
otherwise
sure.
they're not. Blood and Cheese weren't smart enough to come up with Plan B.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
Plan B had to be told to them. Obviously, they weren't smart enough to come up with the next plan.
Yeah.
And Aegon, of course, Barry Bonds his shit
Kill his
and
shit.
gets him up out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go to the funeral. You can tell that they're not comfortable with the common folk. They don't spend a lot of time with them.
Mm-hmm.
The funeral was just bleak
Yeah.
and dreary and dark. There was no sunlight.
Mm-hmm.
However, and I don't know about you, Rachel. When that shit got stuck, I was
I
like, man,
thought
please
it
don't let this baby.
was roll off.
Please don't. I'm on everything. Please do not let this baby head come off. I swear, I thought it was gonna happen. I thought it was gonna happen.
I
And I'm
did.
glad it didn't.
Helena was gonna go on to glory right then if that head rolled off.
Yeah, I'm glad it didn't, but it worked.
Yeah,
it worked. Sir Otto was right. They not only did they show love to Helena, but we're denouncing, Rhaenyra.
Rhaenyra the Cruel.
Rhaenyra the Cruel. It is what it is. So it worked, and the common folks are on their side. But before we get there, do you want to go to Dragonstone to talk about Rhaenyra's reaction, or do you want to knock out a couple subplots that I have written down?
We can do the subplots before we get to Rhaenyra.
Okay, we don't have to spend a ton of time on these because they weren't big scenes, but I do at least want to mention them because they're going to lead up to other things. So, small note: Rhaenyra wants Baela to take Moondancer to King's Landing to see what they're up to. Mm-hmm. That's going to be something to keep an eye on.
That's what. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So I misunderstood. That is what Jay specifically asked to do when during the debriefing that Rhaenyra got in the council, and she told his ass no.
Of course, but why would I send another son out there? Exactly. On Dragon? I'm traumatized.
Exactly. Some of the commentary online is, and I watched it once I saw that and watched it. It was so crazy to me. Did you pay attention to Jace's demeanor and posture? He grabbed his sword.
Oh, yeah.
He grabbed his sword just like Daemon does when he's told no, when he doesn't get his way. So even though that's not your father, you was raised by that nigga, which is interesting because Baela, to your point, is his daughter and he has nothing for her or Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Nothing. Speaking of that, let's keep on with the kids. Let's talk about Jacaerys and Baela. They have a moment.
Yeah.
And you can tell Baela, I fuck with my aunt / stepmom.
For sure.
More than my dad. Like I'm not fucking with my pops. Like yeah. She said she hates him. I don't really have anything else to add to that except for we obviously see this family dynamic, as I said earlier. Is all messed up, not just in the House Green, but also in House Black. I don't think that has anything to do with what happened. I think that's something that's just who Daemon is.
He wasn't that interested in them when he was with their mother, with Lena. Right.
Right.
So it's interesting, and I think this speaks to he and Rhaenyra's relationship, because for what love looks like, for what that is to him, and we'll talk about the back and forth that they had, I do think that he really loves Rhaenyra. And so he treats children differently. Not just his children with her, but Jace, Joffrey, and Luke.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Alan of Pole and Adam of Pole.
Yeah.
Right. So we get introduced to them last week. We
Well, we
know that we met Alan.
met.
Adam we get introduced to this week.
Mm-hmm.
We know Alan and what he did as far as Lord Corliss
Yeah.
pulling him out of the water, saving him. Lord Corliss openly telling him, like, I'm indebted to you.
Mm-hmm.
And news travels fast.
Yeah.
News travels fast because Adam, his brother, we find out, giving props.
Mm-hmm.
Giving props, man. Like not only, you know, are you, you went on your quest killing pirates and all that, but you also had some clout and you got some pull
Yeah.
from Lord Corliss. What you gonna do with that power, my nigga? What you gonna do with that power? And Alan knows, like, listen, I just want to live because you don't know it because you ain't been out here in these streets like me. But there's some serious shit about to go down. There's like a real war coming on.
Yeah.
Like, and I ain't even trying to be part of it. I'm just trying
I
to.
don't need to be on that. On the
It reminds me. It reminds me of somebody. I just want to go to work and I want to go home. I don't want to sign up for no extra committee. I don't want to go for no promotion. I just want to go to work and I want to go home. I don't want to do none of this. And his brother's like, nah. Once again, we talked about it earlier. As Adam is next to the power now. Yeah. Alan got some pull. Now I'm next to the power. I want to experience that too through you. I want to live vicariously.
Yeah.
Like you got to take advantage of this moment because not a lot of people get it.
And it's interesting because Adam is the older brother, from my understanding.
I wasn't sure. Alan carries it, but once again, we talk about Aegon and Aemon. Like sometimes it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Sometimes it doesn't matter. So that is something to keep an eye on. And I will say, we'll talk about Hugh, who we met last week as well.
Yeah.
The one who makes weapons. And Aegon said that we're going to pay you. However, it was kind of like an IOU. It wasn't really like a date or, the amount or anything like that. We get a little bit of insight into his life. He has a sick daughter. They're dealing with inflation. Don't we know about it?
Don't
Shit.
We know it?
His wife had to walk 2 hours for a chicken for the pot. Crazy. And pay 3 times the price. I hope you got multiple because I hope you're going to plan on going out tomorrow to walk another 2 hours for that shit.
Listen, she probably didn't because you had to pay double for just that one.
Pay triple.
Triple. So this is going to last. And you had to throw rice for Jaehaerys' dead ass. Yeah. Man, we need this rice.
We really do. Yeah, because pretty soon there ain't gonna be no chicken. It's gonna be rice and vegetables.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it's gonna be. And that soup pretty much gonna turn into broth in a minute.
That part.
Like, so we really need to get some shit shaking. I wanted to mention them together, Hugh and Alan in their house, because they, in the books, they are big players. Okay. And it is expected for them to play a big role this season. And that's why we're getting some screen time with them. Like, once again, that was just a throwaway scene in a sense for Hugh to kind of introduce to what he's going through. But he is going to play a big role, much bigger than what we think. So just be on the lookout for those characters, everyone out there. I want to talk about Corliss and Rhaenyra.
And Rhaenys.
And Rhaenys, excuse me. I did that 2 weeks in a row. Rhaenys. So there was something about...
daughter. Rhaenyra is the daughter who don't have a dragon.
Thank you. Rhaenys and Corliss, that scene almost looks like it's from a different episode. Like they're the only ones at peace and kind of just like, you know what? We just... That's that meme? You know that meme? You said what?
That's what happens when you above the fray.
Straight.
You around, but this ain't got shit to do with you. You in it, but you ain't directly involved.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Kendra, man. I'm sorry I live a peaceful life.
That part.
I'm sorry I live a peaceful life.
That part.
It reminds me of that meme of the dog with the fire behind him. And like, this is fine. Like, that's what they're doing right now. Like, this is fine. Like, nigga, everything's burning up, pun intended, or about to burn up. And we just chilling in the bed and we talking about Daemon and everything. Daemon wishes to be his own master. The question arises, what I got the most from that scene, will Daemon challenge Rhaenyra? Don't know. But at least it says something that they're asking that question.
For sure.
And we'll talk about the Daemon and Rhaenyra scene.
I was going to say that juxtaposed against the Daemon and Rhaenyra argument,
You want to go ahead and get there right now?
Yeah,
Or I got a couple more things real quick, just minor stuff.
go ahead.
Um, well, let's talk about one thing, just one minor thing. Um, Another mommy issue moment. Amen in the brothel.
Mm,
Um, First and foremost, if I didn't know any better, right? If I'm in Westeros, if I'm in King's Landing, and go to the brothel, to get my shit off,
mhm.
and I see that nigga, I'm like, that's the nigga, that's Vagar's rider, like that's the
Crazy,
one, yeah.
crazy. Mhm.
Like it's one of those wild things, but you see how comfortable he is. He doesn't even have his eye patch on,
Yeah.
and he's like vulnerable. He's literally in the fetal position
Mhm.
with
Mhm.
this woman, who I'm assuming is his whore.
Yes,
But
you
he
got tired.
treats, yes, that
Remember,
he
we
treats.
we saw her last season.
Did we? I can't
We
remember.
saw her last season, and she said, "Oh, you're all grown up."
Yeah, that's a fact.
Mhm.
We get into it wasn't a long scene,
Mhm.
but we get into Aemon's mind for the
Yeah.
first time. We kind of understand what he's thinking.
Mhm.
He's more so he's a man of few words, but he's proud that Damon considers him a worthy opponent. Like that honors me that
Yeah.
Damon, which we've already juxtaposed themselves against each other, one
Mhm.
and the same.
Yeah. He wants
One
to
and the
be that
same.
nigga. You
Yeah,
want
straight
a
up.
ponytail to look like Damon. You are
Mm-hmm.
a second son like Damon. You want to be that nigga. You are a swordsman because that is what Damon is known for. Everything about Damon you've tried to emulate all of these years.
Mm-hmm. Even though there's a war, like sometimes you end up on different sides, and it's not necessarily by choice.
Mhm.
That's just what it is. But if it was up to him, shit, I'd be under your wing right now trying to learn everything. Like,
For
that's a
sure.
crazy duo.
For sure.
Also a reckless duo.
For sure.
Also a reckless duo. He also admits. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I want to know what you was gonna say.
I was gonna say the big thing is Aemon admits that he regrets what happened.
Okay. Yes. Um, I think that Damon is delusional. I do think that Damon respects his sword, but he's not afraid of you. That was one
Aemon
thing
ain't afraid of
that
shit.
Damon said. It's like he fears me. No, he does not. He's trying to get a good read on the situation. I
Mm-hmm.
want to know. I've not really seen your work other than, in the yard with Sir Christian. I think that yes, Damon, you asked, did Damon know or think that cheese and blood and cheese would be able to kill Aemon? He knew that they wouldn't. But I think what he wanted to do is at least see what he could do, not against Sir Christian. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or at least put the word out there. I don't know, but Aemon is crazy as hell. I We saw when Vagar bit Arax and Luce and Luke that he immediately
Mm-hmm.
regretted it. That was not surprising to me. I'm just glad, quote unquote, that he felt comfortable enough with his woman of the night to say that because I don't think he said it to Allison. I don't think he said it to Otto, Aegon, or Sir Christian. You know what I'm saying? Especially
He
not
never
Aegon,
would.
who was geeked about the shit high key, which is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, he
Mhm,
never would. He would never admit that to them. And that just goes into, once again, family dynamics, the issues,
mhm,
the fact that you would trust your woman of the night
mhm.
versus your family. He would never, like, I can never see him doing it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to picture what scenario would need to happen
Mhm,
for him
mhm.
to actually show some kind of remorse or emotion with his family. Whether
Yeah.
maybe he feels, to your point, what you said earlier, maybe he feels that he has to play that Damon role for them.
Mhm.
But there is no emotional, that wall is up,
Yeah.
and I'm here on business.
Yeah. So there's a couple layers to that. One, this lady is old as shit, quote unquote. She probably our age for real.
Hey, speaking of which, side note, man, I gotta tell you what happened to me recently. I was at the gas station,
Uh-huh.
and I had on some Jordan threes. I was getting something to drink. I had on some Jordan threes, and this young nigga, he had to be 19, 20. He
Mhm.
looks at me and say, "I like your shoes, OG," and I was like, "Nigga,
Oh
straight up. I like your shoes, OG. And I was like, oh no, are we at that
Oh,
point?
well,
At least he ain't
well,
call me Unc. At least he ain't call me Unc.
yeah. I take OG over Unc. I take
Yeah, but
OG over.
nah, it was a compliment, and it was so genuine
Yeah,
that
you
it
can't
took me
beat
a while.
that.
I told him thank you, but I went in that store just shaking my head like, damn, I'm the OG now.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
still feel like I'm 22.
You ain't. You ain't. It is what it is. You
Oh, my bad.
ain't. We ain't. Yeah.
Hey man, hey, it's a blessing to still be here. You know,
That's it.
that's
It
how I
really
look at it. That's how I look at it.
regardless.
But I
That's
cut you off. You were gonna say something.
um
Oh, the
this
woman was older shit.
yeah. So another clear indication of a mommy issue. Of course I can't tell you, but look at me in the fetal position, naked, with this woman of the night while she strokes my hair, you know? Um I don't feel bad for them people because I think that they fucked up clearly. But if that was a moment to feel like something for Amen, that was it. Cause it's like, oh, you're really fried. Your mama is
Mm-hmm.
fucked up, and we talk about quote unquote daddy issues, but we don't talk about how these mothers be fucking their sons up enough. And that
Mm-hmm.
this man is out sleeping with a woman twice his age, looking for comfort and nurturing, in safety, that you seek safety, feel more safe, because we also learned that that's where he was that night as well.
Mm-hmm.
I was with you, nigga.
Mm-hmm.
You stay over here needing to get rubbed on. And as somebody needs to get rubbed on, I feel you. But also, I'm not seeking out I'm not seeking out this fucking prostitute. You know what I'm saying? So it
Yeah.
just was very interesting. And I like what she said: when a prince loses his temper, we, the small folks, suffer.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Again,
It's often others who suffer, the small folks like me. You're absolutely
yeah.
right.
And we see that with Hugh, we see that with the rat catchers that Aegon had hanged. We see that even the now with, obviously we'll get into it later, with Sirs Eric and Arik, suffering and dying
Mm-hmm.
for the Targaryen cause on either side. So
That's a great pull. That's a great pull, Rachel. Absolutely. You see the direct accurate effects of that quote. So you're
immediately,
absolutely right. And that was
immediately.
the bar of that scene.
Hmm.
Even more than Damon. I'm honored that he whatever.
Amen.
Um, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Amy, excuse me.
Hmm.
When he said that about Damon, like the bar
Yeah.
was what she said about the small folk.
Hmm.
For those who watch The Boys on Prime, Amen gives you a lot of Homelander, not the character itself, but when it comes to Homelander and those mommies type of issues. If you watch The Boys, you know exactly what I'm talking
I've
about.
never seen it.
Yeah, I know you haven't seen it. Uh, but those who out there watch it, they'll know exactly what I mean. If you watch that scene of him in that brothel and you think about some things with Homelander, you know exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and take it back to Dragonstone. Or
Yes.
not back. Let's go to Dragonstone. We haven't
Let's
been there
get to
yet this episode.
Dragonstone. Mhm.
So we see Rhaenyra learning in real time of the
My
events
girl
that
got
took place at
lines
the Red
this
Keep.
episode.
She got lines this episode. You know what I mean? We get to see the queen in effect.
For sure.
Um, she's learning that she's to be blamed.
Hmm.
And as viewers, we know what happened,
Yeah.
obviously, but it was very cool and interesting
Hmm.
to see in real time because I'm sure somebody out there, people out there, majority, have been accused of something that they didn't do,
Yeah.
and were genuinely confused by the accusation. Like
Confused.
somebody was plotting behind your back and you had no idea. You just seemed
Yeah.
like, well, hold on, what? They think I did it?
Hmm.
Which I don't think it took her a while to really register, and Rhaenys knew what was going on. Um,
Rhaenys knew immediately because she knows Damon.
and she knew
That's little
as soon
cuz.
as I get, not to mention, as soon as I get back, you telling me let's ride. I knew
Exactly.
you thirsty for blood.
Exactly.
So if anybody were to do this plot like that, because
Mhm.
yes, it could make sense that they make this story up to invalidate
Their
your
plan.
your
Hmm.
claim to the throne. but it seems a little bit too detailed, and you can tell by the reaction of the council that, you know what, when you get the right circumstance mixed with the right lie,
Yeah.
anything's possible, because it's not beyond belief that you just lost your son and you said everybody died.
They believed that she did it. Only one
It,
person said it, but all of them niggas was thinking it.
it took Rhaenyra to say, like, calm yourself, like,
Mind yourself.
like, watch before you say another word, my nigga.
Oh, TD ain't
Remember
even
who you
get up.
talking to.
Period.
Remember who you talking to. She wants to let the people know it's not true. She wants to send a raven, but as her counsel told her, I don't know if that was her Grand Maester, who it was, but pretty much saying, like, I don't know if it's gonna be in good faith. It ain't gonna be in good faith. At this point, the damage is done.
Yep.
Once again, we fight on that lie.
Yep.
Like, that's what it is. It's out there. That's what people think. And like I said, it made sense for a grieving mother to want to call for blood. And more importantly, you are fucking up my claim for the throne. Mm-hmm. And we see Daemon, incredible expression acting this episode. I want to give a shout out to Matt Smith, who plays Prince Daemon Targaryen. I also want to give a shout out to, I'm going to mess up his name, right? Rhys Ifans, plays Sir Otto. Mm-hmm. When you talk about expression acting, sure. I thought that, and I've been on, I don't know if I've been on record saying this. I know I have said this to people in real life. When you watch the original Game of Thrones, Jaime Lannister is up there with some of the, like, he's up there with the GOATs when it comes to expression. His mm-hmm. facial expressions during certain moments were incredible. And I think, like, Otto really is on that same level. There were so many moments this episode, especially when we get to the scene of him and Aegon and Kristen. Mm-hmm. Like, I can't wait to talk about that.
Yeah.
But Daemon has a smirk on his face, and you see in real time Rhaenyra putting the pieces together. Because it's so confusing. I'm so lost. Like, who did what?
And she really is like running her mouth like, yo, why the fuck would they think I would do something like that? Again, I just lost a child. I would not do that to somebody, and especially not Helena, of all people. I was planning to do it to Alicent, because I'm going to get Aemon ass. But for Helena, I'm not playing with my baby sis like that. I love
I'm not playing with her. She's an innocent, as she said. And I love how she said Helena of all people. Of all people. That's the last person, not even in the family, probably in the whole Red Keep.
Yep.
That I'd even try to fuck with. Like, I'm not doing that to her. And like I say, we see her put the pieces together. A great reminder. Mm-hmm. My pops always used to teach me as a youngster, guilty by association. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it ain't gotta be you.
Yep.
Just because you aligned yourself with the wrong people, you guilty too. You getting it too. Nigga, all y'all get clapped.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of what it is. And she put those pieces together in real time. And then you see them in their chambers having that conversation, which is one of the scenes of the episode.
Yeah.
In my opinion. A lot of things were said, and this is just like real life. Mm-hmm. When you leave what needs to be said unsaid for too long, it's going to come out in the worst possible way.
Absolutely.
Obviously, I am not saying that Rhaenyra wasn't justified. Her anger was justified, and what she said was true. However, this should have been a conversation that happened a long time ago. The only reason it's coming out is because of the anger. And when you really fucking up like, I am trying to get on the throne. You are fucking that up. And what's your motive behind it? I never could trust you.
Yeah.
And Rachel, you talk about a bar. I wanted to. I willed myself to. How many times have we wanted to trust someone so bad? We knew we couldn't, but we still try to, because in my head, I'm voluntarily choosing to be dumb and go against my better judgment, because I want to trust you so bad, even though I know who you are. I know what you are. You've shown me over and over and over again.
Ooh. Like Fantasia says, sometimes you got to lose to win.
Hey, I've never trusted you wholly.
Absolutely correct. And you consider, we know obviously there's a lot of inbreeding in the Targaryen house, which is why how we essentially got to the Mad King, because all that same blood mixing makes you crazy. I don't know if y'all know that or not. If we got any kissing cousins that's listening, there's a reason why they say you got to be third.
On down. Y'all see Kevin Gates out here wilding out, talking about man. He ain't all the way right either. So you see what that happens.
Right. You lose your damn mind. But when we meet them, and we learn of their relationship, the start of their relationship. Rhaenyra is 14, maybe,
Child.
if that.
Mm-hmm.
And Damon is a grown man.
Mm-hmm.
We watch them have a very interesting dynamic and connection.
Mm-hmm.
Inappropriate, putting that out there.
Fully.
Howsoever, when you consider the time of uh familial interfamilial marriages, and you consider the age demographics, I mean, by the time Alicent and Viserys got married, Viserys was at least 200. Like,
Mm-hmm.
the age gap that we know, it did not exist in 130 AC, Um, but it
I think
was,
of,
go ahead.
go ahead. I don't want you to lose your thought. I don't want you to lose your thought.
But it was an inappropriate relationship from the jump. And we
Mm-hmm.
watched Rhaenyra be charmed by this older man
Mm-hmm.
who she's very much like, who she's drawn to, the passion and drive and the danger of him. I love a dangerous nigga. Okay, I get it. But it's always going to be that. How you start is how you finish. And no
Yep.
matter how she's grown, she's a woman. We watched this nigga take her at 14, 15 into the brothel himself
Mm-hmm.
and do whatever he did. They didn't have sex, but he started. You know what I'm saying? You turned the ruin enough to her to go holler at Sir Christian when she got back to the keep,
Mm-hmm.
that all of that matters. And to your point, came out in this because I can't trust you. Viserys couldn't trust you, and you can't see it. Damon is the same one who raised the army against Viserys. He'll say it's for him, but pretty much against Viserys over his right to the throne. He's the
Mm-hmm.
same one who killed his first wife
Mm-hmm.
so that he could marry Lena so that he could have access to Driftmark again for his own glory. When Lena wanted to leave wherever the fuck they was at, I think that was at Harrenhal, and she wanted to go back to Dragonstone in Driftmark, and that nigga wouldn't let her. She was so miserable that she killed her own damn self to get away from this nigga.
Yep.
Damon is somebody who Rhaenyra has watched not give a fuck about his kids, did not give a fuck about her father, his brother, his only other sibling, the king, until this nigga was dying of leprosy at 2000.
That nigga. Hey, listen. I'm sorry we didn't cover season one. It almost felt like a running joke of how long it took for Viserys to die. That nigga withered away.
Yeah, leprosy is a slow disease.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know, but yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
woo, Jesus. I know it smelled crazy in there. But
Wow.
all of that, Damon has always been untrustworthy. And you've always known that about him, but you try to deny it. You try to make room. Let's not forget the way and reason that y'all are even married.
Mm-hmm.
Because you pleaded with him to marry you. You begged this nigga to marry you, to unite your houses like Aegon the Conqueror and his sister who married, to keep the Targaryen bloodline strong so that their rightful claim could not be denied. You married this nigga as a power play just as much as you're accusing him of using you as a power play.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, Damon was telling the truth about Rhaenyra too. What she was saying was absolutely correct, but he has some truths too in his little speech, and he needed to hear what she was saying. And low key, so did she. But there's also something to be said about somebody that you're so connected to. Even when you're arguing, I have to be close to you. I have to touch you. I don't
Mm-hmm.
go up for incest, but there is something special, despite the lack of trust, about their relationship.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That was extremely well said. Um,
Thank you.
the Game of Thrones world, this George R. R. Martin world and of
Mhm.
fantasy. Oddly enough, gets you. I mean, from the very first episode of Game of Thrones, the pilot,
Mm-hmm.
you get brought into the world of incest.
Yeah.
Um, so it's one of those weird things where you normalize it when you're watching the show,
Mm-hmm.
even though it's so far left field from anything you would do in real life or think about in real life. But yeah, you were absolutely right when you say those things. We talked about the whole trust and the lack thereof.
Yeah.
Um, in Kendrick's song "Love," he has a line that is very simple, but to
Mm-hmm.
keep it 100, I'd rather you trust me than to love me.
Yeah.
And trust goes a long way. It takes a lifetime to build, and it can be crumbled in a second.
That
And when you lose it, you really start thinking about things like Rhaenyra was thinking, like, you know what, my nigga, you really ain't shit.
mm-hmm.
And I think you're using me to grab your stolen inheritance.
Yep.
Like,
He
you
could
really
have
think you
married
should
her
get
when he
along.
took her to that brothel and Viserys found out.
Mm-hmm.
You could have claimed her then and been honest.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't. You left me out to dry.
Yeah,
Like,
and then remember, Damon visibly got upset once she said that.
mm-hmm.
Your stolen inheritance, because he doesn't like the fact that she calling him out on his shit.
Yeah.
Like, you think that you should be the one on that throne. He got upset, smacked the the bowl or whatever was in front of him, and reminded her, like, do I need to remind you of my loyalty and who's the one that put the crown on your head?
Mm-hmm.
And remember, he grabbed her face, which was a great callback for those who don't remember. He choked her up at the end of season 1.
Yep.
You don't forget those type of things, and it was like kind of like that same, very
Power.
similar stance and position.
And she
said straight up. She said straight up. She flinched, absolutely. And she said straight up, I don't know who you are or who you serve.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know. I can't call it right now.
Yeah.
Like, you're not who I think you are because you did some shit like this. Do you accept me as your queen and ruler? And he never answered that question.
He never answered. Mm-hmm.
He never answered that question. He talked about, Viserys was a coward. He knew I was a stronger son.
Mm-hmm.
He used you as a tool to stop me.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, as you pointed out, Rachel, both of them needed to hear that because both of them had truths in what they were saying.
Yep. And so, Loki, you telling me that you've resented me all of these years. Okay, go ahead.
And I'm willing to let it fly. Like, Damon's pretty much saying, like, Viserys, my brother, he would never let blood hit the streets.
Yeah.
I'll let the chopper sing.
Period.
I'll give a fuck.
Clearly.
Mm-hmm. That's what it takes. Like, that's what we're gonna do. Like, I ain't got that issue.
Yep.
Like, I will let the, like I said, we can spray this whole thing up.
Mm-hmm.
About that action. And it's crazy because Rhaenyra's looking at him as he's saying this, like, my nigga, you killed a kid.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. I get you down the ride, but you killed a kid, my nigga. There's rules to this shit.
Yeah.
There's boundaries to this shit. And check in with me before you do anything.
Please.
I'm the one.
Because it's coming back on me.
Yeah, you pathetic. And she ended with, you're pathetic.
Yeah.
And that's what caused him to ride out. He gets on Caraxes. He's out. Full armor. She said later in the episode when she was talking to the White Worm, he might be going a week. He might be going forever. I don't know. We know how that nigga get down.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? But that was a powerful scene in this episode.
It was. It truly, truly was.
And it was needed. It was needed.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, these family structures, not everything's sweet. Green and black. There's some shit going on.
Yeah.
Let's talk about.
Did we talk about Baela and Jace?
Yes, we did talk about Baela and Jace.
Okay. I think I missed it. Or, I mean, obviously, I was a part of the conversation. But
we talked about it very briefly in the subplots.
I wanted to say something about them talking about fathers. Where, again, she says she hate that nigga. While Damon is storming out, he passes her in the hallway. We've not seen him say much of anything to her in several episodes, including in season 1.
Shout out to Michael Jordan. Fuck them kids.
Fuck them, you stupid. I saw a meme that said, shout out to Baela. She's not a stepdaughter. She the daughter that stepped up. Because she and Rhaenyra are very close. But I thought we know that she and Jace are betrothed to one another. I like that we get glimpses of them having conversation, having private discussions and quote unquote intimacy. You know what I'm saying? In that conversation, she says, I think I hate him. He don't talk to me. I don't even know this nigga name, and I guess he my daddy. I don't fuck with him. Speaking of daddies, How was my uncle that ain't your daddy? Did he love you? And I like pause. She also asked him once Jace gave her an answer. She then goes on to say, in Harwin Strong, nigga, your daddy that you look just like with these little curls,
Yeah. Your real daddy.
your real daddy, he loved you too. And I think we touched on it last week, but they know them kids knew fucking Sir Laner or King Laner wasn't they damn daddy. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? We're white.
Yeah. Was it was
We
Lucerne? What was his name? Lucerne? Laner? Was it Laner? I can't remember. But
Laner.
yeah, you're absolutely right.
Lanor.
Okay, got you.
Mhm.
Lanor, yeah.
The fact that he and Bayla can have this conversation, let's remember the whole reason that Aemon doesn't have his eye is because he called us bastards, saying that Sir Lenor was not our father. So the fact that
Mhm.
now, a decade plus later, we can be fucking for real, even if not to the public, we can be for real in what we're crafting and building and talk about the father that loved me and
Yeah,
sired me and burned for loving me, essentially, you know?
absolutely. You
Mm.
are absolutely right. Let's go back to the Red Keep.
Let's get there.
Let's go to suck ass nigga Sir Christian Cole.
Mm, mm.
Oozing with guilt. We see earlier in the episode, because I want to talk about him in the Green Twin.
Mhm,
But we see earlier in the episode where there's a moment where Allison is about to have a bath,
mhm.
and he's standing to watch.
He's fighting for his life not to get up in there.
He really is like
Mhm.
really fighting for his life. And Allison comes out and says, "Have you told anyone?" And that nigga, he shot her a look like, "Bitch, are you crazy?
You crazy? What do
Like
you
I'm
do?
gonna tell on you. I'm gonna tell on you to tell on me. Like, what do you take me for?"
Right.
Um, one who seeks absolution,
Mhm,
a bar, because we
mhm,
get to the scene where
mhm,
he's with the Green Twin, and she was absolutely right. His guilt is eating him up so much, and he told her in response to that, "There is no absolution for what I've done."
mhm.
However, he needs to make himself feel better in true fashion of a bully,
Yeah.
someone who has power. I'm gonna make somebody pay.
Mhm,
It's almost similar to Damon and Rhaenyra's conversation.
mhm,
I've been upset about your funky ass twin brother defecting and being a traitor.
mhm.
And I've been mad about that for a while, and now's the perfect time to bring that up and really put some smoke to you. Um, so guilty that he's trying to pick a fight and place that blame somewhere else. The Green Twin, he's being a little snippy with him. Like Christian Cole's being snippy with him. Like, my
Mm.
nigga, I'm just trying to eat, man. I ain't ate all night. All right, you know what? You in a mood? I'm gonna go ahead and clean this and get up
Mhm.
out of here. And then you
He's
straight up ask me, where were you?
yeah,
Where were your whereabouts?
yeah.
Nigga, where were you?
That part. I felt like in that scene, maybe previously, there had been some feelings between Arik and Christian Cole
Mm-hmm.
because you not just yes, you're eating and you're tired. It's been a long fucking night.
Mm-hmm.
Howsoever, you ain't just getting smart with him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because he is essentially the Lord Commander. Like there is still an element of deference that you would have. So to me, it felt like there had been some feelings prior. And to your point, yeah, I've been mad about your brother leaving, but also maybe Sir Arik did know Christian Cole's little secret. Because
I
where
think it's
was you?
I think it's a bad kept secret. And the way he said that, because what were your whereabouts during the murders? Nigga,
Mhm.
I was with King Aegon. My
Right.
nigga, where were you
That part.
doing that shit?
That part.
That's your post. And why didn't Helena have any kind of like
No coverage.
post? She had no coverage, no post, anybody. And obviously, as we discussed, Christian Cole pretty much tells him like, "This is about your brother being a thief and a traitor to the crown." I love how everybody got their food and got up. Like,
Gotta
you know
go.
what? This shit done got deep.
Yeah.
I don't even. Once again, plausible deniability. I don't even want to be here to know
Yeah.
what happens after this.
Yeah.
Um, one soul and two bodies. Yeah, my
Yeah.
brother left, but you see me here.
Mm-hmm.
Like me and him were one of the same. It hurt. It pains me that he left. But you know what? My duty, what I took an oath to, was to serve the throne,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what I'm going to do. If I was guilty of these accusations you're putting on me,
I
I
would have.
would have been with him.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, how dare you question my loyalty? You don't even know how hard this is to know that my brother on the other side.
Yeah.
That shit ain't even cool. And then, of course, Sir Christian Cole comes up with the Parent Trap idea,
Crazy.
where he wants to send Sir Auric to
Mm-hmm.
Dragonstone to pose as the Black Twin, Sir
Yeah.
Eric,
Mm-hmm.
to kill Rhaenyra,
Yeah.
excuse me. Suicide mission. And it's one of those situations where you damned if you do, you damned if you don't.
Mm-hmm.
If I say no, you're gonna lock me up or kill me.
Yeah.
If I say yes, I have maybe a 0.1% chance of really making this shit work. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm screwed either way, but I'm gonna try. Because once again, like, and he told him pretty much like, my nigga, I'm a knight. I ain't no assassin.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like I defend. I don't really actively kill. I kill
Exactly.
if somebody's a threat. I don't do
Exactly.
this shit for fun. I don't do this shit for hire.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a spy. I'm not none of that shit. Like, all right, whatever. I'll go over there. But more importantly, Sir Christian Cole, you do all this, a la Damon.
Mm-hmm.
Soul again.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have the power, or you're not in the position to make this call by yourself.
Yeah.
You told Aegon after the fact, but you didn't even tell Otto who was the hand.
Right.
There is quotes to quote Phil Leotardo from The Sopranos. It either has meaning or it has no meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Like this shit, like if everybody start making their own rules, then what's the purpose of this whole thing? Why we even meet for council? Why do we even have a king?
Mm-hmm.
This shit is set up in a certain way. And we knew right away that this was going to lead to the big event of the episode, which we'll talk about later on towards the end. But that was just another scene where I'm just like, yo, Sir Christian Cole he really feeling himself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And take blame for your shit, bro. Like, once again, just makes him a more miserable character.
Yeah. Do you want to get to him telling Aegon and the auto discussion? Or you want to
Before we
go ahead?
let's go ahead and get to that. Let's go ahead and get to that, which might be my favorite scene of the episode.
Okay.
Rat catchers hanging in the street, right?
Crazy.
Everybody, all of you. Like, I don't know which one of y'all did it, so all of y'all.
Oh, y'all gotta get it. Mm-hmm.
And we see they got the right one, but it came at the expense of other innocent men. And Otto even said these are fathers, brothers, sons, everything else. Like, you are, and you see the level of depth or lack thereof.
Yeah.
That Aegon and even Sir Christian Cole has. We talk about Otto being an evil genius.
Mm-hmm.
Place and time. It's kind of sinister for you to even be thinking of taking this death and this horrific event and turning it to your advantage, but it worked.
Yeah.
The funeral worked, as we mentioned earlier. You just undid that tragedy and that death, my nigga.
Exactly.
Now they at the doors calling for your head.
Mm-hmm.
Not a real way, of course, because after treason and they kill him, but nigga, they want some answers.
Like, what's really
going?
Yeah.
They in the streets. They hot. It's their version of a protest.
Exactly.
And oddly enough, or not oddly enough, Aegon's with Sir Cole at this moment, and Otto is coming in and chastising him. In a way where even Sir Cole says, "Be mindful of how you speak to your king."
Crazy.
The king is my grandson, and my grandson is a fool.
Bars.
I bought you approval from the people, and you took it right back.
Yep.
Because you wanted to show that you ain't weak and that you in power and that you really run things when you really don't have a clue. And Aegon pretty much said it's time for action. It ain't no time for playing that. I'm not sitting around. I'm not getting permission. Once again, my son got beheaded in my house. I'm letting the chopper sing. Like, everybody can get it. I ain't trying to hear none of this planning shit. None of that. Once again, the expression acting was incredible. Otto was in his bag when it comes to how do I want to say it? His rapey vernacular. The rapey vernacular in this scene was incredible. I had it written down, some of the words and the words that he used in this scene alone. I'm trying to find where it is. In the meantime, go
I
ahead.
never heard a white man call somebody trifling.
Trifling. Said that nigga was trifling, man. He meant that shit.
He meant it. He meant it. I thought I wrote it down too, what he said to him. But essentially, he said, your father was right about you.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't shit. It's so many words. That's what he said. And we saw Aegon's face change. That is sort of what shifted him. And then he goes on to say, well, he made me king. When Otto turned around and said, is that
Expression acting. That expression acting was crazy.
before he said a word, that turnaround, look over the shoulder, like, are you fucking serious? How dumb can you be? And again, Aegon is shook. What can you say at this moment? Because Alicent told him that Viserys essentially changed his mind and chose him. And now
Mm-hmm.
here's Otto, his hand saying, nigga, no, we really are usurpers. We
Yeah.
really stole this shit. And even it let me know that one, Otto had been at Viserys's hand long enough to know that even if he did say the name Aegon, Otto knew he wasn't talking about motherfucking Aegon the second, the magnanimous. They ain't talking about that fool. So it was interesting to me that even he did not believe Alicent's claim because he knew better and he knew
Mm-hmm.
what Viserys thought of Aegon.
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
Your father was right about you. I found the rapey
Yeah, go ahead.
vocabulary.
Go ahead.
Here's some of the words that were used in this one scene.
Hmm.
I don't insolent,
Yeah.
forbearance, trifling, impetuousness, judiciousness, feckless, deprivation. All in one scene. Aegon probably don't know the meaning of half those words.
Hmm.
Yeah, he was in his rapey bag when it came to the vocab this episode.
Love it. Love a
Yeah,
wordsmith.
for sure, for sure. But that, I mean, just acting was top notch. Talk about
Hmm.
the expression, Rachel. You pointed out that look, that
Yeah.
turnaround. Even the scene when he said, or not the scene, even the moment when he talked about Kristen Cole has already put some things in action. And that sigh, like that's that I'm tired, boss. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck did y'all dumb niggas do now?
He called that
Like,
shit a prank. Fucking
listen,
hijinks.
y'all are some idiots. Like, y'all are really idiots.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, he said, Aegon said, man, fuck that dignity shit. I want some revenge.
Yeah.
Like, I want blood in the streets.
Hmm.
And remove your badge, Serato.
Mm. I'd have said you don't
Give it
have a
to
nerve.
give it to Sir Cole. Sir Cole has shown he's proved to be more valuable than 100 old men.
Hmm.
And you were my father's hands, not mine.
Yeah.
Laris
Shout out to
planted
Laris.
that bug, planted
Hmm.
that bug in his ear.
Hmm.
And now it's all right, it's wartime.
Yeah.
For those who are into the gangster movies, Godfather Part 1, or was it Part 2? When Michael removed Tom Hagen as his consigliere. Like, you were my father's consigliere. I
Yeah.
need a wartime consigliere now. It
Mm,
reminded me of that a lot. And he pretty much, Sir Otto pretty much left. I see the future.
for
I
sure.
see the future. And you were going to regret this soon.
For sure. It's very interesting because also we didn't talk about it, but in that moment, we saw Otto rethink and regret this whole shit. When Aegon says, my father is dead, and he says, we're the poorer for it. The judiciousness of Viserys, I appreciate that he ain't trying to have 10 million wars, especially given what Creighton Stark said last week, like, if this was Aegon the Senior, if this was the Conqueror, he would have just showed up with his dragon, burnt all this shit down, nigga, you serving me, versus asking for our help, you know?
Mm-hmm.
We knew or we saw that Viserys was a thinker, you know? He wanted to be on an up and up. He was very cerebral, which Damon is not. Aegon
Mm-hmm.
clearly is not. I think Aemon might be, despite being reckless, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but Otto appreciated that thereafter, you know, even though he was manipulating that old nigga and wanted to get his bloodline up there, to wanted to up his own ranks. He knew in this moment, like, oh, we've made a horrible mistake.
Yeah.
We've made a horrible mistake. Shit.
Yeah, and it's beyond my control at this point. I will say this: when you talk about my level of petty, tells this nigga you fired pretty much. And as he's leaving, Aegon tells him, "You are dismissed."
Bruh.
My nigga, I was already leaving, but just the pettiness of making sure you know you ain't leaving on your own.
Yeah.
As your king, I'm dismissing you. Like you ain't
Crazy.
getting nothing up on me.
Crazy.
Yeah. So Sir Kristen Cole, he's been promoted. I want that. Like
Seeking your way to the top.
there's been in real time, obviously, with the sports world, JJ Redick was just named the coach of the Lakers. No coaching experience. The only experience he's had was a volunteer coach for his fourth graders team, right?
Yeah.
And there's been memes going around saying, like, when I pray to God for acceleration, this is the type. This is what I mean. That's what I think of Sir Kristen Cole when I looked at that scene. My nigga, you did everything wrong and you got promoted. Ain't that how it works?
For sure.
Ain't that how it works?
For
Yeah,
sure.
it's nuts. Let's go ahead and get back to Dragonstone because we have Rhaenyra, our queen.
Yeah.
She's meeting with Lady Masari.
Mm-hmm.
And she wants to know. Rhaenyra is smart enough to know, like, I know you know what happened. Like, you the same motherfucker that tried to get me out of the throne and keep me out of the throne and kind of usurp against me as well.
Mm-hmm.
I know how you moved. You helped them deny my claim.
Yeah.
And she says, like, listen, I'm gonna tell you like I told Damon. I'm a work for hire.
Mm-hmm.
You come with that bread, I'll give you some
I tell you
information.
what you want to know. That's it.
I'm a prisoner.
Mm-hmm.
This nigga Damon said he gave me my freedom.
I'm still here.
Easy choice for me.
Yeah.
Right? Easy choice for me. I gave him 2 names.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened after that.
Yeah.
And once, like you said, Rachel, I'm still here. And it took a while for Rhaenyra to realize, oh, this you Damon's old chick.
Only after she asked where Damon was. And again, she said he could be gone for a week, forever. I don't know. And Masseria says, oh, he does that. Rhaenyra looked like, bitch, first off, don't be Barbara. This is Shirley and me in my castle hole. Okay? Like, don't do it. And she says, oh, now you remember me. First off, she bold, because that might have got you sliced and diced. That alone.
Mm-hmm.
But we saw Rhaenyra bring her to her remembrance, you know. And she listens, but she ain't really going, you know. So she ends up sitting her downstairs. So I'm not even sure what changed Rhaenyra's mind about setting her free, other than honoring the word of her house, you know. Because I didn't get that upstairs.
Yeah, and I think that's it. I think for me personally, and this is just my own thought, there's something about all this chaos going on.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes to cleanse the soul, you gotta do something right.
Yeah.
Let me just do something right. Let me do something noble.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try to see if we can steer this ship in the right path, right? Yeah. Like, this is gonna end badly if we keep going down this way. And I think that's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, to her favor, it worked out.
Yes.
Because Sir Eric is with the queen when she releases her and tells her they have a Valerian ship waiting.
Yeah.
She'll see to it that she can get on there. And as she's walking down to the ship, she sees Sir Arik fully armored and puts 2 and 2 together very quickly. Like,
right. Hold up.
Hold up. And even stops and waits to say, hey, a moment, please.
Yeah.
Which is what I took as us to believe. The reason why people came into Rhaenyra's chambers is because she ended up telling people hey, there like something's going on. I don't know exactly what, but I know that the green twin is here. He ain't supposed to be here.
Mm-hmm.
I know for sure it's a green twin because I was just with the black twin.
Right,
So
right.
I know something's up. Which gets to the duel of the brothers.
Mm.
What do
Before
you think about this scene, Rachel?
before we even get to the duel, Green Arik was extra as hell and obviously acting, trying to put on, because you don't know how Eric is in that house giving it up. So when he gets to the door and they're like, we thought you was already inside because again,
Mm-hmm.
we knew that Masseria was with him earlier and now she by herself got to where she was supposed to be, nigga. We thought you was in the house. We didn't think that you were out here. And he says, what did he say? Um, the
Pretty
enemy,
much like, are y'all niggas crazy?
yeah, and the enemy is a foot or something like that. Regardless, he gets in, don't really know where he's going. Once he spots his brother, he sees, oh, he doesn't walk around with his hat on. He walks around head off, very cool. We see him
Mm-hmm.
lock one door and then convince another brother that he is, or another guard that he is Eric. He enters
Mm-hmm.
Rhaenyra's chamber while she's trying to go to bed. My girl cannot sleep. Again, she and Helena are a lot alike. Listen, when shout out to Color Purple, when you can't sleep at night, maybe God is trying to tell you something. And Rhaenyra could not quiet her spirit. It's been enough, at least a couple days now, I think, since Jaehaerys was killed. So you've probably slept. So something is keeping you up, and it's not Damon being gone.
Not at all.
So
Not
she's
at all.
in here and Arik enters her chamber and she go to speak like, oh, what you need? This nigga draws a sword. She like, wait, what? I don't
And
understand
you see the confusion on her face. Like, hold up, I don't what?
what's going on here. And then Eric enters, brother, with his sword drawn. And I don't know if it's a special name for the duel of the twins, blood brothers
Well,
at it.
yeah. Well, so I don't know. Well, all right. First and foremost, shout out to Luke and Elliot Tittensor,
Mm-hmm.
real life identical brothers, identical
Yeah.
twins, of course, who played the Sir Eric and Sir Arik. There is a song that is commemorated for
Mm-hmm.
their battle. So let me back up a little bit. I will give a little insight to the books,
Okay.
right? So in the books, that battle is a little bit different. Like nobody knew Sir Arik's true intentions. They didn't know why he was there. Actually, Eric caught him in the hall. He didn't even make it to Rhaenyra's chambers. He caught him in
Okay.
the hall on some like, "What you doing here?"
Which it was very
Um,
close that he almost did a couple times.
yeah. And they fought each other by chance. Them being twins, of course, that twin connection. He knew why he was there, and they fought in that hall to the death. Right? Never really mentioned nothing about like one of them falling on each other's sword, but it was both of them ended up having mortal wounds, and they both ended up dying from that. And we know how Game of Thrones is, and that world is. A lot of the stories, Reigns of Castamere, a lot of these things are told through song, and that's how you have to keep the memory. That's their books in a sense. So there was a song called "Farewell, My Brother" by Lucian of Tarth, and it was a popular song played through Westeros, even through the times of Robert Baratheon. So 200
Oh,
years later,
oh
when
wow.
we meet Robert Baratheon, that song was still being played because it was that legendary of a thing in a battle between them. Um, Olenna Tyrell has guards named after the legendary twins.
Oh
We
wow.
all know Olenna Tyrell
Mm-hmm.
from the original series. Eric and Art, and what she called left and right
Yeah.
in the show and stuff like that. So, or in the books, one of the two.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so yes, that duel. I don't know if there's an official name for it, but it
Okay.
did ring out. It is a legendary moment in
Wow.
Westeros and
Okay.
part of their history. Um, and it was. I love how they shot the scene because, like everyone else in the room, I had no idea who was who.
Who was who? The first time I watched it, I got mad at Rhaenyra for jumping out the bed and going towards that nigga. But then I realized she thought that was her Eric.
Mm-hmm.
That she was getting behind for protection, not going in the direct sword line of Arik. So very interesting, very sad. And even when who was the other one who came in? Not
Sir
Lamar.
Len, she said it. Sir Leonard, Sir somebody, because she said go get him. She told
Yeah.
her handmaid to pretty
Mhm.
much go get him, sir. I can't. I'm sorry, I can't think of the name.
I know. I thought I had it written down. I don't.
I'll look for it in a second.
Um, but he didn't know. Nobody could tell them apart.
Yeah,
Uh given their identical twins. And so they really had a hard fought battle. I wish, and somebody tweeted this, like, I wish that the women fought because for real, that handmaid bitch, you ain't throw a pot, throw some. But again, who would you even throw it at? You know what I'm saying? Because
hey,
you don't know who is who.
hey, where's Brienne when you need her?
Where is Brienne of Tarth? Go get these
Sir
people. Go
Sir
get
Lawrence is who they told. Sir
Lauren.
Lawrence is who they
That's what it was. What
she
a
asked her to go and get. And like you said, to their confusion, he like, "Nah, I don't even know who was who. Even after one of them failed, there was still some
They
confusion.
still
Like,
didn't know who it was. They
yeah,
didn't know until he said, my queen, forgive me."
please forgive me.
Mm,
Let me ask you this, and I'm sure you took it the same way I did. Um, that the black twin won,
yeah.
but there was something I saw online where they were talking about just you can almost twist it and say the other twin won, but he was so like stricken with grief that he had to kill his brother that he just said, you know what, like fuck it, I'm taking myself out too. I don't believe in that. I think Sir Eric won.
Why would he call Rhaenyra his queen? He didn't bow to her.
That's
He
what I
just
said.
did.
That's the one caveat that I have. Like I don't. That's why I don't think this is true. Unless he just came to his sense and was like, you know what, I was wrong. You know how it is, man. When things go fast, tragedy happens. You start thinking about all your mistakes and decisions. You know what, you were the rightful heir. I should have stuck with you. Who knows? Either way, it doesn't really matter because I don't believe it.
Yeah,
I believe that was Sir Eric, and he was just so sick.
yeah.
Um,
About
you know,
killing his
there
brother.
are
One
yeah, kill
soul.
my yeah, one soul. Like this is my twin. Part of me is dead, and how am I supposed to move on in life,
Yep.
knowing every single day that I kill a part of me?
Yep. And it's
Um,
one thing for you to be across the pond, as Aegon said, across the bay,
mhm.
and be on different sides. It is what it is. But I know that you over there. And to
Yeah,
be dead and be dead at my hand, I can't live with that.
can't live with that. Can't live with that at all. This ain't the Hound in the Mountain.
Yeah,
This ain't that. Like nigga, we actually fuck with each other.
for
We came
sure.
in this world at the same time, and of course, they leave the world at the same time as well.
In,
Tragedy.
in a dignified burial because they're with Rhaenyra. Had
Yeah,
they had been in King's Landing, they wouldn't have known who was who. They would have tossed them niggas in the river and been done with it.
straight up. Straight
Crazy.
up. That's exactly how it would have went. As we wrap up the episode, one quick note: Aegon sees Elena in the hall, doesn't even speak to her. Just awful. Poor Elena. Go to Team Black. We need her shift off to Team Black.
I watched the sort of after show
Mm-hmm.
and before on my last rewatch before we recorded. I didn't watch it when I first watched it. Um and I was so mad at Aegon for not speaking to Helena.
Mm-hmm.
In the after show, the actor who plays Aegon, it was like, yeah, we didn't speak, but we shared a silent moment that only the two of us could understand. I'm like, I don't see it that way at all. I see it as you not showing up for Helena. But again, because y'all both got the same fucked up ass mama, you don't know what to say to this woman.
Mm-hmm. Because we see him later on crying his eyes out.
Exactly. When really that could be a time that you're with your wife. She's not somebody who would consider you weak of the townspeople. Our child was murdered in his bed in our home while we're all here.
Mm-hmm.
You
And,
should
and
leave me. And maybe there's guilt because my bitch said she was afraid of the rats. The rat keeper came in here and killed our baby.
yep, yep.
And
And in a parallel, as we talk about Aegon cry his eyes out. Allison didn't show up for him the same way he didn't show up for Rhaenyra. The
Yep,
cycle continues. I will say this: both Team Black and Team Green need to tighten up on security
for sure.
because these niggas hitting chambers and all types of stuff being this close, it should not happen.
Exactly. It's
Should
crazy.
not happen.
But the only thing I'm giving Team Black just a little bit of grace because they really thought that it was their nigga coming in. Now,
Yeah,
Kenny, y'all should have a secret code because we know you got an evil twin over there on the green side. There should have been something in place. But even beyond that, it's crazy because to me, now both have lost their better swords. We know Sir Christian and obviously Aemon, but who can
I'm
swing that sword like that over here on Team Black besides Damon?
I'm glad you said that because I meant to bring that up when we talked about the Otto Cole Aegon scene.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I would have said if I was Otto, like, why would you send your best over for that? I get the idea, but this is why you check with people. This is why you
Yeah,
don't break chain of command.
yeah.
Because I would have told you ASAP, we can't afford to lose him.
Not
Like
this.
the odds, we talked about the odds being so slim of you even making it out alive. Even if you do kill Rhaenyra, like, how do you plan on leaving Dragonstone to get out of it?
Yep.
You came in on a ship with other people. You can't leave solo. Like, what is your exit plan?
Right.
Similar to Blood and Cheese. It just didn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because I'm gonna go in the bag for this one. Yeah, I know I love my references. I don't even know if people remember this. There was an episode of Family Matters.
Oh
Right?
shit.
I know, right? Yeah, exactly. But I don't know if anybody's watched Family Matters as an adult. That show is
It's
awful.
horrible.
But yes, that's awful. But there was an episode of Family Matters where Steve was in witness protection, and Carl and this other officer were in charge of guarding them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in this hotel somewhere, and Carl's leaving, and the other officer's coming to take over the duty. But it's not really the officer; it's like the dude that's coming to kill Steve.
Mm-hmm.
And Carl leaves, and he's got the drop on Steve, and Carl comes back and busts down the other officer.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, how did you know? And he said, well, my partner, every time I see my partner, every time we leave our shifts, or like, I always tell him, see you later. And the partner says, not if I see you first.
Yeah.
He said, I said, see you later to me. He didn't say nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just those small instances of those nuances of hold up, something ain't right.
Yeah.
And when it's wartime, and your antennas are really that high, there should have been something to, like you said, Rachel, there should have been something to where you shouldn't even made it this far. You really shouldn't even got into the castle. Them two guards at the door should have known
that it wasn't you.
Like, even if I think it's you, let me double check, because no offense, Sir Eric, really Sir Ark, but no offense, security's tight, my nigga. I just got to double check, because I could have sworn somebody just told me you was inside.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? All that stuff. So yeah, it really goes a long way. We get, last couple scenes in the episode, we get Otto and Allison in the chambers. Otto's been fired, as we know.
They mentioned Darren.
Yeah, they mentioned Darren, who we couldn't remember his name last week. We knew that they had a third child, and they mentioned Darren.
Yeah.
They mentioned Darren.
Go ahead. A third son.
Yeah.
Of Viserys and Allison. I didn't know that they had that other random son somewhere. I knew that Aegon and Helena had another child, but I didn't know that there was a fourth Allison and Viserys child who was Darren.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Darren is out there. He's still I can't remember where he is. My apologies. I forget it. I don't know if he's at a Harrenhal. I don't know where he is, honestly. I don't even want to take a guess. Yeah, that's right. They're not there. Either way, I can't remember, so I don't want to keep guessing. Yeah. But either way, I was pretty much saying I'm out of here. I'm having that talk with Allison, and we get another moment. Dysfunctional family. Yeah. She's trying to open up. I've sinned, and that nigga said, I don't want to hear it.
I don't wish to hear it. Bitch,
I don't wish to hear it.
You win these kids fried. I got to go.
Like, whatever it is, keep that shit to yourself.
Yeah, bro. We can't take this right now. Whatever it is, keep it to yourself, please.
Keep it to yourself. And then we get a little after that scene, we get a little violence. That's violence before play.
Yeah.
Um
That's what I like. That's what I like.
you know, man, a little choke never hurt anybody every now and then.
Oh, the little slap.
Little
The
slap on the face, and
slap.
nothing like getting the blood flowing.
Crazy.
A little razzle dazzle. And
So
we've seen them.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say last week we already talked about them trying to last time. This can't happen again.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know that ain't the truth. So go ahead.
That's it. You know, you couldn't comfort your son because you was too worried about fucking Christian.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk shit, and there's definitely shit to be talked, but also I understand.
Oops, my bad.
But also I understand. I have to find some comfort. This is the only place of solace. The cause and cure is you. Shout out to SWV. That's it. I get it. I'm about to smack the fuck out of you. I'm gonna beat your ass. And then after, whatever happens, happens. You know, I don't know how you're gonna sneak out of here now because I'm sure we're heavily guarded, but going
I
about
don't
your
think she gave. I don't think she gave a fuck at that point.
not at all. Because maybe we clearly see he's assigned to her. So what? Somebody may walk by and see he ain't at that door. He could have went to bed again. Had to use the bathroom. What's the protocol? I don't know.
I was a bed.
Yeah.
Um, Rachel,
Yeah,
that wraps up this episode.
for sure.
Great conversation as always with you.
Absolutely.
I am. I mean, we're only 2 episodes in. I believe it's season at 8. I don't know why I thought it was 10 episodes. I believe it's only 8 episodes this season.
Mhm.
So we have 6 more, and I don't know where we're going next week, but I can't wait.
I'm excited.
I'm extremely excited. If an episode like this, which is like I said, not a ton of action, but a lot going on,
Mhm.
this would be a 9. I would say
Yeah,
8.5, 9, somewhere around that. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
yeah,
I'm with the shits. I love to see how people moving. I love to watch this chaos, and
mhm,
there's something about just watching people like, are you dumb?
yeah,
Um,
and they are.
and yeah, and it's given everything that we need in that regard. So um, I couldn't ask for a better person than my Grace to discuss House of the Dragon with Queen Rhaenyra,
Period.
first of her name.
What's so the
We gonna
cruel?
hey, depending on what side of the coin you want to be on,
Depending on what side of the coin. We didn't even talk about Aegon or Aemon in that coin in the foreshadowing of his own death with that
Mm,
coin. For the Game of Thrones watchers, you know, they bury you with coins on your eyes in
mm-hmm,
Targaryen life.
mm. Yeah, we'll save that. We'll save that
Let's
because I'm
say
sure it's
that.
going to be coming back up.
Yeah.
Shout out to all y'all for watching, for listening. If you are a reader of the books, if you want to give us some information,
Please. Yeah.
spoiler free information, but give us a little bit more insight in some of the things we're missing as viewers of the show, please feel free. I know there are some book readers out there. We appreciate y'all. I said it last week, just excited for us. This is our first time entering Westeros.
Yeah.
And we obviously will continue to do so. I'm sure we'll even go back retroactively and have some Game of Thrones discussions at some point.
Yeah.
But either way, we appreciate y'all for tuning in. Please remember, if you're listening, please subscribe to Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you're listening. If you're on YouTube, please make sure you're subscribed. Leave a comment. We will add you to the episode. Share. Tell anybody you know who's watching House of the Dragon to tune in
Yeah.
because it's only going up from here.
Sure.
Rachel, I love you.
I love you.
I appreciate you. This
For
was a
sure.
lot of fun. Please, we have one more episode of The Shy. If you're also looking for more We Got Y'all content, the finale, it will be out, I'd imagine, this Saturday. As far as our episode covering it, we'll probably release that this Saturday. Monday at the latest. You can probably expect these these House of the Dragon episodes to be releasing on Wednesdays. So yeah, thank y'all for tuning in. We will see y'all next week to discuss season 2, episode 3. Until then, I don't know. Let's say something regal.
I was trying to think. I was literally to the here. I didn't want to say peace out, my brethren.
Yeah, good morrow.
I will catch you on the morrow. Peace.
Yeah, peace.